Okay, so it's been a while since we've done ParaDiddlePete Drum Shop, but it's back. It only took like 6, 7, maybe even 9 months. But the good news is that my stuff finally came in. These are gonna be the lugs that we are gonna use. It took a while for them to come in because of the couve. And then I have all the tension screws that I'm gonna be using right here. Boom, boom. Those are actually for bass drum. But here's all the tension screws that I'm gonna use. And then here's all the screws that are gonna screw the lugs into the other side of here. These are the rims. They finally came in too. I got this stuff from drumsonsale.com, a pretty good site. So I know I said in the first video that to leave a comment down below and like that would be what we would paint the drum. But a lot's happened since now and then. The biggest one of which is that I've split up into 2 different channels now. One is ParaDiddlePete, and that's where all of my like music and like professional portfolio type of stuff is at. And then the other one is Tackle Tyler, which is where I do a lot of teaching and I kind of work on drums and I do stuff of that nature. And because I broke off into 2 channels, I like reorganized my videos and re-uploaded some. So I don't really remember what those comments were, and I can't really access those comments either. So the 2 colors we're going to use is we're going to use this flat black. This is the same black that I use for my practice pads. And this we're going to use this satin or flat green, like little forest green. And there'll be many, many more drums that we're going to be working on later on. I got a lot of stuff already kind of planned out. So don't worry, this is going to be the only one, and we'll work and figure out the colors for all those other drums later. But for this drum, what I'm thinking about doing is doing black on the sides and then green right here. What I'd really like it to do is kind of fade from black to green, but I don't know how well it's going to go down with just spray paint. But we're going to try our absolute best. I think the best thing for us to do is paint the entire thing green first and then go over it with black. We're going to see how that goes. In order to not get these metal thingies that I should know the name of, but I don't, in order to not get them painted or have the paint splash out, I was going to use blue painter tape, but I have no idea what happened to mine. So instead we're going to use this tape. It's like little electric or little medical tape that I have. It should work and do the job. Okay, so as you can see, I got the tape all done up. I hope that it's good enough, and I hope that I'm not going to get any splash on that actual metal or even on the inside of it. That'll really kind of ruin the whole little look that I'm going for. Okay, so I just did a little bit of testing with the painting because like I only get one shot, you know, I don't want to mess up. So this is what I got. On this side, I painted it black first, and then I went over it with green, and on this side I went green, and then I went over it with black. As you can tell, the black is a much darker, of course it's a darker color, so it's going to overpower the green a whole lot. But I like how the green kind of cuts through a little bit with the black. So I think what we're going to do, that I'm going to try my best to only get the green within the 2 screw holes, and then get black on these 2 sides, and then go back over this with green. So that way, maybe we can get that little bit of a fade type of feel to it. Now some of you might be wondering, how are we going to paint this? Well, I'll show you. It's extremely technical here in the ParaDiddlePete Drum Shop. Boom, that's how we're going to do it. We're just going to paint right here. I'm going to circle it around. I'm going to rotate it, and we're going to get it done. Okay, as you can see, some of it splashed onto other sides a little bit more than I would have liked. But for the most part, I think it's going to be pretty okay. I'm going to go over it again with the green just to make sure that that stays there. But I'm going to go over it with green anyway after I do the black. And now I'm going to do the black and see how well that goes. Mistakes were made. Okay, we might have had a small miscalculation, and I probably should have switched hands when I was doing this. Covered up a little too much of the green that I wanted to show, but in some spots it looks pretty good, but I have a feeling that it's going to be okay after I go back over it with the green and after I let it dry. So yeah, so we're just going to let this dry for a second. Okay, so I just went back over it with some more green. I think it's going to come out okay. I'm actually pretty excited for it to fully dry. I'm not super excited about all the backsplash. I really should have covered that up, but I mean, I guess hindsight's 2020, and we'll learn and know for better for next time. But as you can see, it's getting dark out. I'm pretty tired, and I think I'm gonna give it a full day to dry, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Okay, so I just finished my second or third coat on it. I think it was my third coat. The black is starting to get really like prominent, and same with the green. It's not exactly like level like how I wanted it, or I guess like even, but it's as good as it's gonna get, and as good as I think I can do for my very first time ever doing this stuff. I'm gonna put some like lacquer or some polyurethane, or I don't know, I'm gonna put something on there, maybe make it shine a little bit, maybe something that'll kind of protect it in case it gets scratched up. Okay, so it's been a while. It's totally dry now. For a while it was like really sticky, but it's like way dry. And I'm about to put some polyurethane on it to kind of seal it up, and we're gonna see how that goes. I don't know. I could be potentially just ruining everything. So I let it sit overnight again after putting some polyurethane on there, and I think it came out really good. It really kind of lets the colors pop. It's a little shiny. I took the tape off. That's the only little speck that happened when I took the tape off. The other side is totally good. I should have really have taped and like blocked this off somehow and protected that, because that's where all the splatter went, and I'm not a big fan of how that happened, but whatever, you know, you live and learn. This is the first drum I've ever done. But anyway, the next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna start putting in our lugs. So that's gonna be pretty exciting. Oh yeah, it's starting to finally look like a drum. I have a feeling that this is gonna look really, really good. I'm super excited about it. Okay, so I kind of messed up just like a little bit. With the throw switch, I forgot to drill the holes before I painted and sealed it or whatever. So now I gotta do it again. I put some tape on there to try to, you know, keep from scratching, and so that way I could draw and make the marks. So I'm about to drill into this thing and hope that I don't mess it up. So, okay, so I just drilled into it. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty scary. But now here's the moment of truth to see if I did this correctly or not. Does it fit? Well, the holes in the right spots, but I don't think the holes are big enough. Alright, it took a lot of finagling, but I got the throw-off switch on there. I went with DW just because that's kind of all that they had at Guitar Center. It took me forever to get the spacing of the holes correctly, but I mean, it's kind of like cutting your hair. You can always cut more off, but you can never, you know, put it back. So I'm glad that I started with a small hole and just kept making it bigger and bigger. But overall, man, I think that looks clean. And now it's time to put the butt plate on for it. Okay, so the way snare drums usually work is that there's a throw-off switch on one side. It's literally exactly as it's called. It's a throw-off switch. You throw it down and it turns off the snare drums. Okay, so there's the throw-off switch, the snare strainer, which is actually the coils or the actual snares. Okay, and there's different types of those. And then there's the butt plate, which is where like the other snare is attached to on the other side. Okay, I'm not entirely sure if it's called the butt plate. That's just kind of something that like all my teachers called it, so that's what I call it. But what's different about the one that I'm gonna use is that it's from DW and it has these 3 little positions. So like it's still gonna go on the side of the drum just like how like it normally would, except it's also gonna control the tension of the snare drum, and it's gonna give me 3 different tensions of the snares. and I saw a video of it on YouTube, and I thought that was pretty cool. And since this drum is already kind of like really strange, I went ahead and did it that way anyway. So yeah, so this is gonna be the next thing that we put on. Okay, so the way we're gonna attach this thing is that the same exact way that we did the other one. I put some little tape here so that way I'm not marking on the actual drum, and then I drew lines, I found the center, and then we're actually gonna put it right here-ish. Okay, and I even used the drum head and the rim to make sure that there was enough space between the butt throw-off switch thing and the rim. So it should work out fine. And the way I measured those holes is I just took off the guard and I put it right there, and there it is. Okay, so we're gonna drill into this drum, and hopefully it goes okay. Okay, I'm gonna do this like sitting down because I already put this on and I don't really feel like taking off the throw off, and it's not gonna sit like level. So I'm gonna see if I can hold it, which is probably a bad idea, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, that's what we got. You can't really see it very well from the darkness of the camera, but it's done. Okay, so it took way stupid long in order to put these things on. I've never really drilled into a shell before, but I think it came out pretty good. Here's the other side. We'll talk more about like what this thing does later once I get everything else hooked up. But for the most part, I'm really kind of happy with the way it looks and where it's at. It's like very seldomly off-center. It's probably gonna bother me for the rest of my life, but I mean, I did the best I could. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we are gonna put the drum heads on and the hoops, which are over there, and then we're gonna put this on, and then we'll tune. So I decided that I'm gonna grease the lugs before I put them in there. Now I'm using, oh gross, it just got all over my hand. So I'm using lithium grease, or I think this is like all-purpose grease. Some people use Vaseline, a lot of like, it really doesn't matter. I think that this all-purpose grease, or like lithium grease or white lithium grease or whatever, is way better than the other stuff, because the other, like Vaseline and any other type of lubricant you might use, or any type of grease you might use, unless it's meant for automotive stuff, it's gonna dry out, and then when it dries out, it's gonna be really hard to get this stuff off. So this stuff is going to be able to, it's not going to dry out. It's going to be able to withstand like extreme heat. Not that the drum's ever going to be in extreme heat, but if it ever was, or you get left in a car or travel or under a bus or something like that, like, you know, your lugs are still going to be nice and greased and lubricated. So that's what I'm doing right now. And yeah, it's starting to look pretty cool. Yeah, it's starting to really look like a drum. All I have left to do now is to put the actual snares on. I did notice that, like, I don't know if you can tell or not, but these tension screws are going in at an angle instead of flush. They need to be going straight down. So I think that maybe like I can get some type of like washer or something to kind of push these away from the drum. If not, then maybe I'll get some new lugs at some point or something like that. This whole project's been a huge learning process, and I know that next time I'm definitely going to know exactly what to do. But I mean, come on, man, that drum looks gorgeous. So in case you didn't know, these are called the snares. There's a whole bunch of different kinds. These are coils. There's like little strands and like guts and other things, and different types of plastic that you can get. There's two different ways that you can get your snares onto your drum. You can get like a little strap that can go through here and that can go through there, but I don't have those. So we're gonna use the other thing with the little string. Now, we're gonna funnel through the string up and around in here. And then we don't really have anything to tie it to, so this thing right here moves out, and I'm gonna string the string into there. And then I'm actually just gonna put the excess in that little slit right there. And then I'm gonna tighten it down. So that'll hold the tension kind of thing. So we're gonna see how well this works. I've never stringed snares before with a mechanism like this. So we'll see how everything goes. Boom, there it is. It's all done. Okay, well, all in all, this was a really fun project. I had a blast redoing this. Like I said multiple times, this is the first drum I've ever actually like redone from like top to bottom. After the parts came in, it took me about a week to finish it. Just so you guys know, like I'm actually in the process of moving, so like some of my stuff is boxed up, and I've been looking at houses and everything else. So ParaDiddlePete Drum Shop will move into another garage. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned stuff along with me. That's it. You know, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Muckler Choco!